Alright, this video is going to be about catch cans and why you should run one if you have a supercharged SeaDoo. So right off the bat, the reason why you want to run a catch can on a supercharged SeaDoo is because any engine that's turbocharged or supercharged is going to be forcing compressed air into the combustion chamber. And when you do that, you're going to have some kind of effect called blow-by, which is essentially any combustion air that makes it past the piston rings and it goes into the crankcase. I mean, that's really true on any engine, but it's mostly pertinent to turbocharged and supercharged engines because, just like I said, you're forcing air into the combustion chamber. So all that air has to go somewhere, and any engine will have something called a PCV valve. SeaDoo does not call it a PCV valve. They've changed the name of it over the years, but it's essentially the same thing. The difference with a SeaDoo one is that if you roll the ski over, this thing won't just pour out oil everywhere like a regular automotive one would, but essentially it acts the same way. And on a factory setup, this valve vents directly back into the intake system. And the problem with that is you're venting all of those combustion byproducts and excessive oil back into the intake system, which will then circulate and clog up your intercooler. It's not really a big deal. You can take the intercooler out and clean it, but the problem still stands. All of that stuff is going back. It's coating your intercooler fins, and then just by the nature of running the engine, your intercooler is dropping efficiency as you use it. So a catch can will fix that problem. Now, a lot of people say, well, if the engine didn't come with a catch can from factory, that means the engineers decided it's not needed. But that's not the case. The reason combustion byproduct is routed back into the intake stream is for emissions purposes. But it's also a marketing thing. Mainly, so basically to break it down, for emissions, you have to route those byproducts back into the intake system in order for the engine to have a second chance to burn all that stuff off. If you vent it to atmosphere, that's technically an emissions thing, but also comes down to marketing, because every manufacturer is trying to make these things easy to use. They don't want to say, oh, by the way, every 25-50 hours you also have to drain your catch can, whatever. It's a lot more appealing to customers if all you say is you have to replace the oil. There's no catch can or anything like that. So if you were to ask any engineer, especially a mechanical engineer, someone who works on engines, if they would fit a catch can, they would say a resounding yes. So that brings us to installing a catch can on a SeaDoo. And there's two types. There's a vent to atmosphere, which is this one here, and there's a recirculating. And the difference between the two is that a vent to atmosphere does exactly that. This will just mount anywhere, and it's essentially a one-way system. Any of the gases that come out of the engine route their way into the catch can. Vapors and stuff like that will condense. There's a mesh in there. They'll condense and collect. And any gases that don't condense will just kind of filter out on the top there. And that, of course, leads to things like this, where you'll get staining on the hull or spillover or whatever. But even better is a recirculating system. And this is essentially the same thing, except the output is routed back into the intake. The benefit you get with a recirculating system is that you have the scavenging effect, where the suction from the intake will actually pull gases out of the engine. So any vapors that are kind of just hanging out in there, but they're not actually making their way out, they'll kind of just float, they'll collect on surfaces, and then eventually those gases will condensate and then drip back into the crankcase. Whereas a recirculating one that's actually pulling those gases out will make sure that they don't condense and collect. Now, don't get me wrong, a vent to atmosphere is certainly far better than the factory setup, because you're still getting rid of those gases. You're just not getting rid of all the gases at the same time. So for the past 40 hours or so, I've had a vent to atmosphere and system installed. So in this video, I'm actually going to replace this and install a recirculating setup. This is a cheap one I got off Amazon. I believe it was like $40 or so. They're pretty generic. There's not really much to them. It's essentially just a can with an intake or an input and an output. Ideally, you'll want to have a can that has some kind of like porous material. I actually just bought some steel wool, so this is going to go in there. And essentially what this will do is, just as the gases are passing over it, they'll hit all these surfaces and hopefully condense into a liquid and drip into this can before it's sucked back into the engine. It's not 100% needed, but it just, you know, it certainly helps out. So that's what today's video is going to be about. And then once I'm finished, I'll kind of talk about the key differences again, just to summarize it, and go over what the pros and cons of each system are. The benefit with a lot of the off-the-shelf installs is that they come with brackets and everything. Like this is the Riva system. It kind of just mounts right off of the exhaust manifold, so super easy to install. Since I'm switching over to an aftermarket kind of DIY setup, I have to figure out where I want to mount this thing, because it's obviously not going to use the same mounts. So I was hoping I could get it somewhere in here, just so it's super easy to drain. But I would have to drill, I'm going to use rivets, but I have to drill pretty close to the edge of the fiberglass here, and I'm afraid it's going to splinter and break off. So I'm thinking about maybe putting it back here, mounting it just like that, or even behind. That way I can still easily get to the input and output ports there, and then it'll be on a thicker part of the fiberglass here where I don't have to worry about that happening. But I'm using rivets just because I feel that they're going to be a little bit easier to use than nuts and bolts. We'll see if that's actually going to work out or not, but this is just a cheap rivet case gun thing I got off Amazon a few years ago. I use it for everything from trailer license plates to whatever. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit and figure out what design or what layout I want to go with, and then we'll go from there. So to pick out the right stem length for the rivet, I'm just really kind of roughing it and seeing how deep it needs to go through the hole, and then accounting for the depth of the mounting plate here as well. So I think this size here, which is a 3/16 by 5/8, should be deep enough, yeah, to account for the hole as well. We'll find out. If it doesn't work, I'll just drill it out and start over. That turned out great. Both rivets are holding pretty strong. It's on there. The thing's almost spring-like, but the actual mount itself is pretty solid. So I like that. Plus, this one also has a sight glass, so I can see the front, and I'll be able to tell when it's filled up. And this one's easy. You just kind of unscrew the base. I'll do that now, just like that. That's how the bottom comes off to drain it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make the penetration on the actual intake here for the return. So what I'm going to do is just drill a hole here, and then I have a threaded insert, this guy here. So basically just tap thread that in, and that'll be the return or the outflow of the catch can here. Alright, since I have an aftermarket intake, it doesn't have the pre-existing barbed inlet that a factory intake would have. So I'm going to thread in this one here, and to do so, I'm just going to use a 5/8 spade bit into this coupler here, and then I'll use some pipe thread to kind of tighten this up and fit it through. So we'll do that now. Alright, that'll do perfectly. It does not have to be a perfect seal because this is only the intake side. There's no pressure or boost or anything here. So as long as it's tight, you're good to go. Alright, now since I have a kind of a wicked curve going on here, I'm going to take an extra step, and instead of just having the hose come straight out and loop around, I made this piece here just an angled piece. So I'll have this slide on here like so, and now I can just have a direct line coming straight out without needing to pinch or bend any hoses. So I'm going to link that up now. Alright, next we're going to install the intake just so I can get this out of the way and so we can start running the feed and return lines. So we'll get this installed now. Alright, so the first line I'm going to run is the out, which is going to be the suction, so the part that's coming off of the air intake that I just tapped in. And this is the out port on the catch can. So I just looped the breather hose around. I'm going to put a hose clamp on and get it attached right in there. Once that's attached, all we need to do is run a line for the inlet, which is what comes off of the crankcase. So it'll basically just be a line going from here into there. Not quite sure how I'm going to run it in here, but I'll get to that in a second. First, let's get this attached. Alright, everything is together. This is the configuration I decided to go with. So the input, which is the feed that's coming out of the crankcase, just kind of loops around my blow-off valve here and goes right outside of the breather. It's on there nice and good. There's no tension or anything on the lines. And then the output, which is coming from, or going into the intake, I should say, is right out on the inside, and it just kind of loops around the intercooler pipe. So, fairly clean setup. It's certainly a lot cleaner than all the hoses that were originally here when I first bought the ski. But this is a nice, reliable, and easy to use setup. So, whenever I need to drain this, I can kind of just reach in and unscrew this thing. Very, very easy to get to. And I can see it all from here. There's a sight glass. So I'll be able to tell when it's filling up and when it needs to be emptied. Alright, I just finished taking off the old mounting plate. This one mounted on the exhaust manifold, so it kind of sat right over here, just like that. So the last two exhaust manifold bolts had to come off for this bracket. So that's pretty much it. But just to summarize, if you have a supercharged jet ski, a supercharged SeaDoo, it's absolutely worth looking into getting a catch can installed. There's plenty of bolt-on ready ones. This was a Riva knockoff I got on Amazon for like $90 or something. Super easy install. It's just 2 bolts and then a hose that comes off of that, the SeaDoo version of the PCV valve. You can have it installed in 15 minutes or less. Super easy for anybody that just wants a bolt-on solution with no DIY work. The only downside to the system, like I mentioned earlier, is that it's a one-way system. There's no, it's not actually actively sucking out any of the combustion gases. It's just passively letting any of the combustion gases pass through and ventilate. So that's why I swapped over to a two-way system, one that sucks it in. Of course, this is a DIY method. There's no manufacturer that I know of. Actually, Works may have one. But I'm not 100% certain on that. I don't believe there's any two-way systems that are just bolt-on ready to go. So if you want a two-way system, you'll have to DIY it. This install looks more complex than it had to be, and that's only because I have an aftermarket intake. The SeaDoo OEM intake already has one of those connection points because the OEM system does just circulate back into the intake. So if you have an OEM intake and you want a two-way system, it's super easy to install. You also don't need to use rivets or anything like that. That's just because I wanted like a permanent install. You can certainly just leave the catch can there. You can zip tie it to anything if you wanted to. Or if you don't care, you could just let it dangle in there. But realistically, anything is better than the factory setup. If you guys have any questions, or if you want a more detailed breakthrough or a walkthrough or anything like that, let me know. I'll be happy to post any or answer any questions you guys have.